But, there's some really interesting stuff has come out about the coronavirus recently, and we're not big on counting the numbers every day, but we do have some stuff we wanted to share with you, some stories that have come out and some studies that have come out, in fact. One within the last about week from the CDC came out and announced that actually coronavirus was present in the United States throughout the entire country well before the first official case, January 19th of 2020. So they've actually gone back and they've looked at some of the Red Cross blood donations, and they've checked those for the antibodies to coronavirus. And remember, the antibodies take about 6 weeks to fully develop after you've had the active infection. So they found in donations collected between December 13th, 2019 and January 17th of 2020, they found a massive amount of samples that contained the antibodies. They found 39 samples on the West Coast in Washington, Oregon, and California, collected between December 13th and 16th, all of which contained the antibodies. And they've also found 67 samples, this is very interesting, in the states including Connecticut, Iowa, Massachusetts, Michigan, Rhode Island, and Wisconsin. Those samples were all collected between December 30th and January 17th of 2020, December 30th of 2019. Now, remember, the first official case in the U.S. was not until January 19th of 2020. Now, they've also determined that these antibodies were specific to this coronavirus. They couldn't have come from another coronavirus, so they know, in fact, that these represented active infections of COVID-19 back in December, or it would have actually been before. It would have been in sometime in November on the West Coast and throughout the country shortly thereafter. Such an interesting story.
Well, two things come to mind. Number one, if they were collected December 13th, then that person would have had, those people would have had it before that, like you just referenced, sometime in November, because it takes X amount of weeks for the antibodies to show up in your body, correct?
That's right.
And then also what comes to mind is that these people were probably not sick. Because if they're donating blood,
that's right,
they're probably feeling pretty good.
They must have been feeling good, at least by the time they went to donate the blood. Now, a lot of people reported, in fact, including some people that we know, reported having gotten sick around that time with some kind of what they thought was a virus, that they thought, gosh, this is something really, really heavy. This is worse maybe than the flu, but we don't really know what it is. And, of course, at that time, the doctors supposedly didn't know what they were looking at. So there are these reports going back well before the first documented case, and that kind of blows apart the narrative of the whole thing. I mean, there's a couple of other important data points that blow apart the narrative, but this in particular coming out of the CDC, I mean, it's hard now to refute because they always toe the line. So now they're saying it was active much earlier. Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.